General Motors will increase their EV spending by 30% to a total of $35 billion between now and 2025 in an effort to become the EV leader in the United States. Can they do it? Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. Great to see you. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on all of our new videos. You probably won't see those in your feed. If you've already subscribed, thanks guys. Great to see you here again. GM is planning a very aggressive EV strategy over the next 4 years. And they have to. Their sales globally last year were down to 6.8 million from a high in 2016 of 10 million. That means they lost a huge amount of sales between 2016 and 2020. In 2017, sales decreased from 10 million to 9.6 million, and in 2018, they were down to 8.4 million. In 2019, down to 7.7. In 2020, down to 6.8. And that trend appears to be continuing even in a bounce back year of 2021 after kind of a post-coronavirus hiatus. So it appears to anyone who's rational that GM is right now in trouble. I think Mary Barra, the CEO, knows that they're in trouble. She knows that GM has to be aggressive and take risks, and they really are taking risks. Now, General Motors plans to bring out the most electric vehicles in the United States over the next 3 years. But probably what will happen is they'll cede initial market share to companies like Toyota and Honda in the short term, which are choosing to emphasize refreshing their more profitable gasoline-burning cars rather than focusing fully on EVs. Of course, the strategy may work for Toyota and Honda initially within the next few years, but backfire on them in a big way by the time we get to 2030 when everything goes EV. Now, GM will replace only 14% of its annual sales volume with new models from 2022 to 2024, about half the rate that Honda will freshen up its cars. Toyota will replace its lineup at a rate of 26%, beating the industry average of 21%. Now, that's not due to lax investment by GM. It's because GM are investing more in EVs over the next few years, while Honda and Toyota are spending to bolster their existing ICE or internal combustion vehicles instead. Now, because EVs sell in limited numbers right now, the new models that GM plans to introduce could result initially in lower overall market share if consumers don't embrace the technology quickly or if the price isn't on par with ICE vehicles. Now, when Chief Executive Mary Barra announced the acceleration of General Motors' rollout of 30 EV models in November of 2020, she said the carmaker was committed to fighting for EV market share until we are number one in North America. That means, of course, Tesla. Now, she didn't mention Tesla by name, but she didn't have to. If they're going to be number one, they're going to have to overtake Tesla. So let's have a look at Tesla's global sales. Well, in 2016, Tesla sold 75,000 vehicles. In 2017, Tesla sold 103,000 vehicles. In 2018, Tesla sold 245,000 vehicles. In 2019, they sold 367,000. In 2020, 500,000. And in 2021, so far, after 2 quarters or half a year, they've sold 386,000. And I believe Tesla are on track to likely sell between 900,000 to 1 million vehicles in 2021. Of course, though, the big advantage Tesla have here is every single one of those vehicles are EVs. So Tesla doesn't have to write off huge losses in ICE sectors or convert factories or do all those things needed to transition from one technology to another. Now, it's likely Tesla will sell at least 2 million EVs in 2022, potentially more. So how will GM combat that? Well, last year, GM announced a joint venture with LG Energy to build more than $2.3 billion in a second battery cell manufacturing plant in Spring Hill, Tennessee. Using Ultium battery cells, GM's proprietary cells, they'll build the new Factory on land leased from GM. Construction on the 2.8 million square foot facility has already begun, and the plant is slated to open in late 2023. Now, once in service, the plant will supply battery cells to a nearby GM assembly plant. Now, in March last year, LG Energy Solutions said it planned to invest more than $4.5 billion over the next 4 years to expand its battery production in the US by 70 gigawatt hours, which is a huge, huge number. Now, the expansion will give the company a total production capacity of more than 110 gigawatt hours in the United States alone. GM's Ultium battery technology uses a large format pouch cell that can be stacked vertically or horizontally inside the battery pack. Now, this allows engineers to optimize battery energy storage and layout for every vehicle design. Basically, they can use these batteries in all their different vehicles. Now, energy options range from 50 to 200 kilowatt hours, which could enable a GM estimated range up to 450 miles or more on a full charge. Now, what is GM using in these cells? Will it give them a competitive advantage over Tesla? Well, most automakers and cell manufacturers are working to reduce or eliminate cobalt because of the cost and the conditions where it's mined, primarily in Central Africa. GM's Ultium cells use an NMCA chemistry, with the A being aluminium. This has allowed the cobalt content to be reduced by 70%. That's a good thing, obviously. The chemistry will be proprietary to GM products, but it was developed in collaboration with LG Chem. GM and LG are continuing to develop new chemistries with the eventual goal of eliminating both cobalt and nickel entirely. They're also working on a lithium metal battery as well, that they claim may be able to double the energy density in their batteries. Now, GM importantly is claiming that the new chemistry will drive cell costs down below $100 per kilowatt hour, but that's cell cost. That's not pack cost, remember guys. Don't get the two confused. Cell cost is very different to pack cost. Right now, cell cost at Tesla is assumed to be around about this figure, around about $100 per kilowatt hour, but pack cost is more like $500 per kilowatt hour. Two totally different things. Now, during a GM presentation, Doug Parks, Executive Vice President for Global Product Development at GM, said the cell cost now represents 80 to 90% of the total cost of the battery. I'm not sure how he's come up with those numbers. That sounds like, it sounds like nonsense to me, unfortunately, but if it's true, that's great. Now, in the past, the rule of thumb has been that large format cells represented about 60 to 65% of the total pack cost, with the rest being the casing, wiring, and other components. For small format cells like those used by Tesla, the proportion was reversed because of the higher part count. So this is a good thing, right? We're comparing GM's Ultium battery cells in the future cost of $100 an hour. The concern here that I have is that that's Tesla's current cost, about $100 per kilowatt hour. However, Tesla's current cost for their lithium iron phosphate cells, a different chemistry to Tesla's NCM cells or nickel cobalt manganese cells, is significantly lower. Now, while lithium iron phosphate cells have a lower energy density, they're around about half the cost. And that cost is continuing to decline. So, Tesla is currently using lithium iron phosphate cells from CATL in their battery packs in China. And this is enabling Tesla to significantly reduce the prices of their cars. Within the last few weeks, prices of Tesla Model 3 and the Model Y have significantly declined in China, in Australia, and in a number of other countries. One of the key reasons to this is Tesla has a significant advantage by building cars in China. They're building them there cheaper than they could in the United States, of course, and they're using CATL's lithium iron phosphate battery chemistry in their packs. This gives Tesla two advantages over GM. GM manufactures the majority of their cars, and obviously for the American market in the United States, as does Tesla. So that is a disadvantage. Now, if GM want to overtake Tesla, they're going to need to do something smart. They're going to need to outsmart Tesla. So how do they do that? Well, obviously, they think they've come up with a way to outsmart Tesla by using Ultium battery cells, using a different proprietary chemistry. Personally, I don't think that is the wisest move. I would have thought it would be smarter for GM to use battery cells from someone like CATL or BYD, use lithium iron phosphate battery cells, even use potentially the lithium ion blade battery pack in the skateboard from BYD. I think they could save a potentially large amount of money on that area. Now, GM obviously have been producing EVs for quite a long time now. A decade ago, GM was a company to beat in the US in EVs. In 2012, the year Tesla debuted the Model S, GM sold more than 23,000 Chevrolet Volts, nearly double that of its nearest competitor, the Toyota Prius hybrid, and representing 18% of the total US electric vehicle market, or around 50% of the pure EV market. But since Tesla began selling the Model 3 2 years ago, it has smashed US sales records for EVs and turned 112-year-old GM into an underdog. Tesla dominated the US EV market in 2019 and in 2020 with around about a 60% market share. Now, GM is claiming they will sell 1 million EVs in 2025. However, at that rate, they'll be well behind Tesla, who should be selling approximately 4 to 5 million EVs in 2025. Obviously, GM has a lot of catching up to do, so I'm not sure that the amount they're investing, while it sounds like a lot, $35 billion between now and 2025, is as much as they need. Sure, you're saying, okay, what should they invest? Well, I'll give you a figure here. Volkswagen, the second largest automaker in the world, has said it would spend $90 billion US dollars by 2026. $90 billion. Nearly 3 times as much as what GM is spending. Nearly 3 times as much. Tesla obviously has a tremendous lead in the market, and Volkswagen wants to catch up and beat Tesla. Of course, it makes sense. So they're investing $90 billion, nearly 3 times as much as GM. Now, what about now? What are GM currently selling right now? Well, so far, GM's only available EV for sale in the US is the Chevy Bolt and the Chevy Bolt EUV. The Hummer EV and Hummer EV SUV will come later this year, followed by the Cadillac Lyriq and the Celestiq. Now, GM has also said that it will make an electric Chevy Silverado pickup truck, and the automaker currently sells compact EVs in China in a partnership with state-owned SAIC. So, the truth is right now, GM actually has what is for the last 2 months, the most popular EV in China. The Wuling Mini EV costs only $5,000 US dollars, and it's selling better than any other EV in China. That includes vehicles from Tesla, the Model 3 and the Model Y. In my view, this is the vehicle that GM should focus on globally. If they want to overtake Tesla, they should invest as much as they can into making this car a global car. Now, obviously, around about 90% of the world right now can't afford a car that would cost anywhere over $5,000 US dollars. So, if GM wants to take up market share, this is where they can do that. GM could invest in hand with SAIC in building more factories or expanding the factory size in China for the Wuling Mini SUV. And I believe there is a huge market for this vehicle that is untapped right now. A market that Tesla is not playing in. Even if they increase the sales of this vehicle, even if they had a premium version, maybe they have the current version, cost $5,000 US dollars, they could make a more premium version for $7,500, and then a slightly more premium version again, maybe a performance version for $10,000 US dollars. Now, I know you're probably saying, yes, but the Wuling Mini EV is technically a quadricycle. But the only reason for that is it lacks some key safety features. So by adding those features, they could then turn this into officially a car. I mean, it looks like a car, it just looks like a mini hatch. This is an area where GM could absolutely dominate, and by virtue of the fact that they get themselves into a position where they're selling millions of these vehicles worldwide. That may be in China, India, Southeast Asia, Central and South America, many other countries like that where car ownership is low because the cost of cars is very high. This is an area where GM could amortize some of the costs of battery cells and battery packs, learn more on how to dominate the EV market and use some of that expertise in the United States and other places. Currently, I don't believe GM's strategy has any chance of seeding Tesla or Volkswagen based on what they're doing. I wish it did. I really like GM as a company, but unfortunately, they're competing against the two juggernauts right now, Volkswagen and Tesla, and potentially BYD as well, who are as vertically integrated as Tesla, but of course, all of their operations, well, most of their operations are in China, where they also have a cost advantage. They even build their own cells right now, which Tesla does not. They use their own chemistry, and it's lithium iron phosphate. It's very affordable. This means BYD can sell vehicles at a lower cost than probably any other automaker in the world right now. EVs at a lower cost than any other automaker in the world. Now, that is the segment I think GM should be going for. By attempting to make their own chemistry, by attempting to outsmart others in that way, make their own special packs, I believe they're actually hamstringing themselves. Now, the challenge GM faces is they must also manage their traditional car and truck business, where it holds the largest share of the US market, to ensure it underwrites rather than undermines its EV push. It's like you're operating on yourself, said Adam Jonas, a Morgan Stanley analyst who is extremely bullish on Tesla. It's possible, it's just an added challenge. Now, industry experts all agree that at some point, probably sooner rather than later, the market for EVs will become the entire vehicle market. The only question is when. And will GM still be around to take a share of that market? Now, Luke Gear, senior technology analyst at IDTechX, says that for now, Tesla is still better at making its batteries cheaper than competitors. Cheaper batteries mean cheaper vehicles, making them an option for a wider pool of potential customers. He said, price is going to be what determines who is the market leader, and Tesla looks set to win on price in the foreseeable future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.